Good day. It's April 7, 2025. The news that dominated the U.S. in the past 7 days was the backlash on Elon Musk's involvement in the Wisconsin election that became visible last week, in what others describe as the billionaire's effort to buy a Supreme Court. I'm Joe Buban. Welcome to The Pulse. Donald Trump and Elon Musk endorsed candidate for Justice of the Supreme Court, Brad Schimmel, was defeated by Judge Susan Crawford Tuesday last week. The most expensive election for a Supreme Court justice in U.S. history. Judge Susan Crawford, who was backed by Democrats and other liberal organizations, who at the time of her election was a Dane County Circuit Court judge, was outraised in campaign funds by her opponent, who received about $25 million from Elon Musk. Candidate Brad Schimmel's campaign pitch was to support conservative agenda, including anti-abortion and anti-women's rights. He was a former Wisconsin State Attorney General. Judge Crawford, during a victory speech, thanked all supporters and Wisconsinites for standing with her against a billionaire who thought he can buy a court with his money. Crawford won the election by 237,884 votes, which is a 10% margin. Susan Crawford got 55% of all votes cast, while Schimmel got 45% of the votes. She will serve for a 10-year term that brings the liberal wing of the Wisconsin Supreme Court to 4-3 of the 7-member state Supreme Court. Elon Musk and the Republican political machinery got involved in the Supreme Court election in Wisconsin, and so did the Democrats nationwide, who was watching this election as a referendum on Elon Musk and the Trump's 100 days in office. Even the Democratic candidate for the state superintendent of schools, Jill Uberly, also won big by a margin of 5% against Republican candidate Brittany Kinzer. Wisconsinites in that same special election last week voted in favor of an amendment to the state constitution for voters' ID as a requirement to vote. 62.8% voted yes on the voting measure. In the state of Florida, where a special election was also held for Congressional District 6 and District 1, which are vacant seats. The election in these deep red districts, CD6, which was vacated by former Congressman Mike Waltz, who left his seat to become Trump's national security advisor. The second seat, CD1, which was once held by former Congressman Matt Gaetz, who resigned after being nominated U.S. Attorney General but withdrawn his nomination. District 6 was won by Randy Fine, who is a state senator, against Democratic newcomer Josh Weil, who is a public school teacher, by a margin of only 14% in a district won by Trump by 31% margin, and was won by Mike Waltz by 32%. What this means is that more independent voters swayed toward Democratic candidates in this district that has never been won by a Democrat over 136 years. This indication is good news for the Democrats, who can mount another challenge in 2026 midterm elections. In Congressional District 1, which is former Congressman Matt Gaetz' district and considered as the most conservative district in Florida, the Republican candidate Jimmy Patronis won the election by a difference of 25,031 votes. That also only a 14% advantage. The Democratic challenger, Gay Valamont, did a good showing by getting 42% of the votes in a district that is usually won by 68% for a Republican candidate. In this special election, the margin was a mere 14%. Democrats see this as a fighting chance in the district going into the 2026 midterm elections. With these two wins, it brings back the total number of House Republican members to 220, the level before the resignations while Democrats has 113 members. Democrats has 2 vacant seats that is awaiting special elections, one in Houston, Texas, for the seat of Congressman Turner. The second vacant seat is in Arizona, CD6, that became vacant when Congressman Raul Grijalva died on March 13. The 2 vacancies in the Democratic side of the aisle are safe Democratic congressional districts. Changing the rules in House floor votes to pass a bill has become a contentious issue last week. What is this about? Let's look into this. There was a proposal from mostly women members of the House of Representatives to change the House rules to allow proxy voting by members who recently become parents and are staying with their infants instead of coming to the House floor to vote, taking the infant child with them. House Speaker Mike Johnson, a Republican from Louisiana, killed the proposal by doing a procedural vote on the matter. But there is a rebellion by Republicans in the House led by Congresswoman Paulina Luna, who demonstrated her seriousness for the issue by quitting from the House Freedom Caucus, a Republican wing in the House consisting of ultra-conservatives, which many in the mainstream media view as the obstructionist group. The lead proponent of the rule change, Representative Paulina Luna of Florida, wasn't going away on this issue. She was able to secure a so-called discharge votes of 218 required to override Speaker Johnson to bring the proposal to the floor for a vote. All 213 of the Democrats in the House and 9 Republicans joined together to force Speaker Johnson for vote on the matter. This is considered a big blow this year to Speaker Mike Johnson, who is already struggling to pass a bill that supports Trump's agenda because of the very thin majority in the House, and he can't afford to have 4 Republicans to vote against bills Speaker Johnson puts in the floor. Well, it's a sign of life that the lower chamber of the second branch of government is still functioning in spite of the state of our democracy under Trump. And not only in the House, the U.S. Senate passed a bill on Wednesday last to end Canadian tariffs. 4 Republican senators broke away from Trump on the issue and voted with the 47 Democrats to pass the resolution. The bill was put forward by Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky and Senator Tim Kaine, a Democrat of Virginia. Besides Senator Rand Paul, fellow Kentuckian Senator Mitch McConnell and Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski and Senator Susan Collins of Maine voted with the Democrats to pass the bill. We are going to take a commercial break. Please stay with us.
We use headphones as a part of our everyday lives. Whether we're at work, getting exercise, meditating, in transit, studying, practicing, or relaxing.
Hi, I'm Ryan Sway, the founder of Aircom. I would like to introduce the world's first wireless airflow audio earbuds. As a festival and a concert junkie, I really enjoy the live experience of being there and feeling the music. When we started developing Airflow, our goal was to reproduce that live experience using earbuds.
The problem with traditional headphones is that the speakers are located inside of the earpiece, literally giving you centimeters before the audio hits your eardrum.
What Aircom is doing, they're the first company to actually address the fact that there needs to be a space involved associated with having the sound waves expand fully.
The difference between traditional headphones and Aircom audio is that the air tube gives you 8 times more space, allowing the sound waves to fully develop before they actually hit your eardrums. And this gives it a much more live, natural sound, just like in a recording studio.
It's real nice that someone actually addressed the physics associated with how sound comes out.
The challenge we had was to create an earbud with enough airspace for the sound to fully develop and breathe. Unfortunately, traditional earbuds are about the size of a jelly bean, and there's just not enough airspace. However, that changed when we developed airflow audio. Airflow uses an air tube to deliver 6 to 8 times more airspace than traditional earbuds. The end result is a true live listening experience, just like you're at a festival or a concert. We also added magnets to the back of the earpieces so you can wear it around your neck when you're not using it.
Being that the drivers are 8 inches from the earpiece, the magnets do not affect the integrity of the sound at all.
The orange line represents the frequency transmitting through the wire to the speaker, which then converts to the blue sound wave that develops more as it travels up the air tube, producing a balanced, full body and live listening experience.
Another really cool feature is that these earbuds are sweat-proof and water-resistant because they're coated with a super hydrophobic nanotechnology. So now you can be on a skateboard or riding a motorcycle and listen to music as if you were watching a live show or actually in a recording studio.
We're coming to you for help in bringing these unparalleled earbuds to market.
Welcome back to The Pulse. Republican town hall meetings continue to see a trend of intensified hecklings, shoutings, and boos. Indiana Congresswoman Victoria Spartz was met with endless screaming and shouting throughout the course of her town hall. Even many of her constituents and voters walking out from the venue of the town hall. Her question and answer portion was met with yelling and ranting when she tried to defend the policies of Elon Musk. Spartz, who is of Ukrainian descent, was the same congresswoman who voted against a bill that would have helped Ukraine.
Walk out! We have solidarity. Walk out! Walk out! Don't walk! Get out! Tell them what
Okay, we have a question.
Walk out!
You have a question from
Walk
William
out!
Westwood.
Walk out! Let's go!
Okay.
Walk out!
The state of Maine Republican Senator Susan Collins has not held a town hall meeting in 25 years. A group organized a town hall forum at a park plaza in Portland, Maine. However, the senator did not respond to the invitation, and the group continued to hold the meeting without her. The forum was met with protests and hecklings, even worries about policies from DOGE to tariffs, and others were asking the question, "Where have you been, Senator?" Senator Susan Collins is a moderate Republican who had voted with Democrats on several occasions. Meanwhile, Democratic officials have received applauses and standing ovations from independent voters in both parties. Here are some videos of Florida Congressman Maxwell Frost in a Republican district in Michigan, and California Congressman Robert Garcia in his district's town hall event.
Thank you very much.
In the U.S. Senate, New Jersey Senator Cory Booker sets the record of the longest Senate speech in the Senate floor. Senator Booker discussed on issues relating to the dangerous policies of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, on how it is badly affecting people from all over the country, from Social Security, healthcare, firing government employees, and admiration for his colleagues throughout his tenure as then Congressman and now Senator. Booker spoke for 25 hours straight, setting the record the highest after a 24 hours and 18 minutes Senate floor speech from then South Carolina Senator Strom Thurmond in 1957, when he spoke out against the Civil Rights Act of 1957, where he opposed giving more rights to Black Americans. Texas Senator Ted Cruz spoke in the Senate floor for 21 hours and 19 minutes, ranting about the policies of the Affordable Care Act, which Republicans dubbed it as Obamacare. In our Las Vegas community scene, the Consul General of Los Angeles held a consular outreach in Las Vegas over the weekend. Such events usually help Filipino-Americans who wish to have their passport renewed, apply for dual citizenship, civil registry matters like birth certificate and marriage certificate. Voter registrations are also available if the team includes a COMELEC representative. Also for the same event, a town hall meeting was called for the community by newly installed Consul General Adel Cruz. It was an opportunity for the new Consul General to meet with the Phil-Am community and leaders and listen to their concerns from the community. Still from Nevada, State Attorney General Aaron Ford joined 18 other state attorneys generals in the lawsuit against the Trump administration over his executive order abolishing the U.S. Department of Education. In that lawsuit, in a public statement reported by KTNV 13 News, Nevada's Attorney General, a Democrat, said last week that President Trump cannot unilaterally dismantle the Department of Education and pledged to see the administration in court over the issue. The 53-page complaint filed by Democratic Attorneys General contends that because the government agency was created by Congress in 1979, it can't be erased without an act of Congress. It also contends that dismissing a large number of department employees will make it impossible to carry out its constitutionally mandated mission. Governor Joe Lombardo, a Republican, described the Attorney General's lawsuit as unfortunate. In another sign of voters souring against the Republican Party, in the state of Louisiana, voters overwhelmingly rejected 4 constitutional amendments that was on the ballot last week. The amendments had the backing of Governor Jeff Landry and had something to do with the state taxes, legal and judicial changes to the state constitution. The people of Louisiana mobilized, and the rejection of all the proposed changes was a resounding no in the ballot. We'll take a commercial break. Please stay tuned.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
Welcome back to The Pulse. For our international news, according to BBC, Israel will increase its military presence and occupy large areas of Gaza. The military will increase its operations in Gaza and take control of large areas of the region, according to Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz. Katz stated that the goal of the enlarged operation was to destroy and clear the area of terrorists and terrorist infrastructure, he said in a statement released on Wednesday. Incorporated into Israeli security zones is what he indicated would happen to territories that were taken. He urged the populace to eradicate Hamas and repatriate Israeli hostages, stating that this would necessitate a mass evacuation of Palestinians. He claimed that this was the only way to bring the battle to a close. Overnight, the Israeli military reportedly started to ground operations in Rafah. His warning last week that the military would soon operate with full force in other regions of Gaza prompted the declaration on March 18. Israel resumed its bombardment in Gaza, accusing Hamas of turning down a fresh U.S. offer to prolong the ceasefire and release the 59 captives still in captivity. In response, Hamas charged that Israel had broken the terms of the initial agreement they had made in January. Due to Israel's refusal to permit supplies into Gaza Strip since the new operations, the humanitarian situation in Gaza has significantly deteriorated in recent weeks. The day after Israeli troops killed 8 Palestinian medical personnel, 6 civil defense first responders, and a UN staff member in southern Gaza last month, the UN declared it was scaling back its operations in the territory. Following an enormous cross-border attack on October 7, 2023, in which over 1,200 people were killed and 251 were held captive, the Israeli forces began a mission to eradicate Hamas. The subsequent battle has killed over 50,399 Palestinians in Gaza, the health ministry operated by Hamas reports. In Southeast Asia, the devastating earthquake in Myanmar is interpreted as a sign that the military rule will fail. Min Aung Hlaing, the military leader of Myanmar, seemed indifferent to the potential of calamity posed by Cyclone Mocha, which blasted towards the country's western shore 2 years ago with wind gusts of up to 280 kilometers per hour, 175 miles per hour. Senior General Min Aung Hlaing and the majority of his cabinet were in the east of the country, consecrating a Buddhist temple despite forecasts of significant damage as the cyclone made landfall. The Irrawaddy magazine portrayed the general's role in the elaborate rites that weekend in Shan State's Kengtung as another illustration of his fascination with ancient traditions to fend off bad luck and disaster. Min Aung Hlaing was busy performing yadaya in the hope of enjoying long rule as millions prepared for tragedy, according to the magazine, which used the Burmese word for superstitious magical rites. The journal stated those consecration ceremonies are full of yadaya and aim only to seek divine blessings and avert misfortune. The central Myanmar cities of Mandalay and Sagaing were devastated by a magnitude 7.7 earthquake on Friday. As of Tuesday, over 2,700 people have been verified to have died. The devastating earthquake is being seen by many in profoundly superstitious Myanmar as a sign of Min Aung Hlaing's death and as divine retribution against their military overlords. This earthquake has omens behind it, a Mandalay astrologer told Al Jazeera, according to the astrologer, who is not named for security reasons since it happened on a Friday with a new moon, rice and water resources will become scarce and commodity prices will rise further. The leadership of the government will undergo significant changes. Wars can get worse, according to the astrologer, that Min Aung Hlaing eventually will relinquish power due to a shift in leadership. The earthquake occurred the day after Min Aung Hlaing presided over the yearly Armed Forces Day Parade, which was staged in the midst of the nation's bloody civil war, which is in its fourth year and has claimed the lives of nearly 6,000 people in the hands of the regime's armed forces. He basically uses astrological predictions to govern the nation. He even uses astrological methods to govern the country, the astrologer added. We will leave it at that as we are out of time for this edition. Please join me again next week here at The Pulse. Thank you for watching. I'm Joe Buban. God bless your week.